Hi everyone, so today we are here to make 3 simple and easy snacks that require the use of a food processor. So they are so easy to make because you just chuck everything into the food processor and press blend, and then you have these delicious snacks. So firstly, we will be making a banana chocolate ice cream, which is so yum. Then we are going to be making hummus, my favorite hummus recipe, which is super easy to make and tastes delicious with fresh veggies or crackers. And then finally, we will be making almond butter. And this one is a bit more of a lengthy process, but I promise you it will pay off and it will taste delicious. So I hope you enjoy this video and I'll see you on the other side. Bye! So firstly, I'm adding 2 frozen bananas into my food processor. Then I'm going to chuck in 1 tablespoon of water, and this will just help it to blend a bit easier. So then you take it off after a few seconds and push down the edges. Then you want to give it another good blend. Again, you need to push down the edges. This is a theme with everything I make in the food processor, unless you have one of the special Vitamix blenders where you can push things down whilst you're blending. You will have to stop and start it quite a few times. So then I add in a tablespoon of cocoa powder to give it the chocolatey taste. And we just blend that up again. And then I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of protein powder. So here I've used a protein powder that I bought from a Whole Food store, and it's a plant protein powder and it's a cocoa and cinnamon flavor, but you can basically use any protein powder that doesn't have too strong of a flavor. So then it's all ready and you just scoop it out with an ice cream scooper or with a spoon or whatever you want into your bowl. So this made a really large serve. It's a very big snack to have 2 bananas, but if you wanted a lighter snack, you could just have 1 or 1.5 bananas. Otherwise, this could probably actually serve 2 people because it made 4 really big scoops from it. Or you can just eat it like I did, all to yourself. It tastes delicious and it's a great afternoon snack or dessert. So the second recipe we have is hummus. Here are the ingredients. Firstly, a can of chickpeas. I'm using this Annalisa brand BPA-free chickpeas. You could also use fresh chickpeas and cook them if you have that available to you. And then I have lemon, as well as 2 cloves of fresh garlic and tahini. I found this tahini at my local Woolworths in the kosher section, but you could probably also find it online pretty easily. You want to look for tahini that's runny. So if you shake the bottle and you can hear that it's runny, that's perfect. So before you put the chickpeas in, just make sure to drain and rinse them, and then we will blend them up. I like to blend up the chickpeas a bit first before I put in all the other ingredients because I just find that it blends better. I don't know, it's just my technique. You can do whatever you want. You can just put it all in and then blend, but I like to mix the chickpeas up a bit first. So then I'm adding in a whole lemon. I'm using my little lemon squeezer here. And then I just put the 2 garlic cloves in full. I don't chop them up or anything. And then we go in with 3 tablespoons of tahini. As I said before, you want to make sure you've got a good quality tahini that is nice and runny. Then you also want to add in 1/4 cup of water. You could also add in 1/4 cup of oil here. However, I'm trying to reduce the amount of oil to make this a more healthful dip. So I've used water and it tastes just as delicious, I promise you. So I actually forgot to put the salt and pepper in at this point. You'll see later that I remember and add it in, but you should also add in the salt and pepper before you blend for that last time. If I'm serving this for a starter for my family, I like to serve it with a drizzle of olive oil and some paprika on top, just to make it look pretty. And it also adds in an extra element of taste that is quite delicious. Alternatively, you could mix some other spices in if you don't like paprika. A curry powder would probably taste quite nice on top as well. There's lots of things you can do with hummus. And then I like to serve hummus with either some chopped up veggies, like cucumber is what I have here, or some crackers or some pita bread. So then once you've finished eating whatever you want to eat, you can just put it in a Tupperware and store it for later. It lasts about up to a week in the fridge. So yeah, it's a pretty great recipe to make every week if you can, to get that protein into you. So yeah, as you can see now, I'm adding the salt and pepper that I forgot earlier. And into the fridge. All right, so our final recipe for today is almond butter. Firstly, you want to heat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, as you can see here, I am just emptying out a packet of almonds onto a baking tray. I've lined this with some baking paper, and you just want to spread them out quite evenly so that they all bake evenly in the oven. And we are heating them up for about 15 minutes. So they're not going to be completely roasted, but they're just going to slightly release some oils, which allows it to turn into almond butter more easily. So after that's cooked for 15 minutes, you have to let the almonds rest on the pan until they're completely room temperature. If they are warm, you might end up breaking your blender, which has happened to me in the past. So I definitely recommend waiting until the nuts are cooled, and this applies for any nut butter that you're making. You just really want to make sure that the nuts are cooled. You don't actually have to put the nuts into the oven, but it does make the process a bit quicker because it is releasing some of that oil already. Alright, so now for the first blend. At this stage, it's more like a almond meal texture. So it's going to take quite a few blends to get to almond butter, and this process can be a bit frustrating because it does take quite a while. I think all up it took me about 15 minutes, so that was about 10 to 15 blends of about 1 minute in length. So I've kind of skipped through them here, but as you can see, slowly the mixture is getting slightly firmer and sticking together more. I also added in a teaspoon of vanilla extract as well as some salt. If you are finding this process a bit tedious, as it does take a while. So if you're finding this process a bit tedious, you could add in some oil as well to make it blend faster. So what I've done in the past is add in 1 or 2 tablespoons of macadamia nut oil. You could also add in a different nut oil such as peanut oil or walnut oil. You could also just add in a regular vegetable oil. They basically just thin out the mixture a bit more and allow it to bind faster. It's not necessarily a thinner or better texture, it's just more quickly gets to the right texture because it does require a lot of blending to get to that runny consistency without the oil. Alright, so here you can see it is finally a nice smooth texture, and now we are going to transfer it into some glass jars. So as I said at the beginning, this makes 2 jars of almond butter. So we just have to spoon it into the jar and then just kind of like tap it and move it around so that it moves to the bottom of the jar before you put the next lot in. And yeah, you just continue doing this until you have filled 2 jars of almond butter. So there are many ways to serve almond butter. One of my favorites is on a slice of fruit toast. My other favorite way to have it is with sliced up apple. Tastes so good, spread on some apple slices as a little snack. So there you have it, 3 super easy recipes that you can make during quarantine in your food processor at home. I hope you're staying safe and I hope you're all well. I look forward to making more videos for you soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!